Perfect. Well, I only have the 40-minute Zoom, so hopefully it doesn't kick us off. Sometimes that happens. I'm in the middle of saying something or someone else is in the middle of saying something and it's like, done. It's like, okay, you're done saying anything. But I've had so much fun like connecting with people and hearing about their experiences, because everybody has such a different cleansing experience. Like not any two people are the same, which is why I feel like a testimonial video is so powerful, because rather than like reading something on a website and being like, is this paid? Did somebody pay this person? Or is this even a real person? Having like a tangible video of like a 1 to 2 minute clip of somebody sharing their experience is just so much more profound, and you can relate to it in a deeper way. So I have a couple of questions that I would love to ask you just to hear about your experience and kind of go further than that. What would you say? How would you say that the enzymes have helped you come back into better alignment mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just like everything kind of coming back together?
Yeah, so for me, my history was like from 2016 to 2020. I was suffering like through really bad like existential depression, and it led to a really severe eating disorder. And I would just binge eat every day. I was in so much pain, couldn't digest anything, kept eating. Just always felt, I mean, so full and so bloated head to toe. And I've come out of that, but the damage was done. And I just always had this feeling like, not to get graphic, like there was poop in me, like I always just had something just clogged up almost everywhere. There was like 5 distinct parts in my intestines that just always felt full. And no matter how many laxatives I tried, I did, I've been plant-based too. I'm not eating like junk, you know what I mean? I've been eating clean, and I fasted for 21 days in 2019 on teas and water. And I got some stuff out, some pieces of plaque and some worms and whatnot towards the end of it. But it wasn't anything that like, oh my God, I'm better now, And I just kept feeling, again, just so full and heavy no matter what. And I started researching, I learned about mucoid plaque, and I saw a lot of like juicing regimens and really like aggressive, heavy protocols to get that. And it's like I've done so much extreme stuff to my body, and I tried a lot of those. Nothing really ever worked, to be honest. And then it was actually Josh Mason. He's with the Detox Dudes, if you guys know him. Yeah, on his email list, he talked about Zen Cleanz, and he was like so ecstatic and saying, oh, this worked, better than anything I've ever done. I was like, okay, I trust this dude. So I bought it and I tried it, and oh my goodness, it actually worked. And the first cleanse I did, I got, like not, I don't know how long that looks on the camera, maybe like 8 inches or so, like a big piece of something came out. And I was ecstatic. And I instantly felt like, it didn't cure me, but it was maybe like a 10, 15, 20% better as far as how light I felt and my digestion. And so I actually instantly made an Instagram, instantly became an affiliate. And I was like, yo, like this thing actually works to get the mucoid plaque out. Nothing else ever did. I've been at this for years. So I've done 5 of them now. And they were all the intestinal one cleanse. And I've had 3 of them that were really profound. The other 2 still got stuff out, but it's just, there's less and less to pull out every time. So it can't be profound every time. But it's been the most important thing in my detoxing process over these last 5 years, to pull out this old stuff. And each time the old stuff comes out, I feel my consciousness shifting, the anxiety drops, the stress drops, all these subtle things that you don't even know how to manage or where they're coming from. When the thing, you get a big gurgle and it pops out and releases, it's like, oh, it was stuck there. So Zen Cleanz has been the #1 thing for me to really get in the deep cleaning and get my health back and my digestion back.
Wow, yes, I love this. I'm actually in Josh Mason's old house in Kauai, which is so funny. This is his shoji screen from some of his videos. It's great.
I've seen videos where he's with that screen.
That's he left it here when he moved. It's so funny. It's such a small world. He's actually the person I learned about Zen Cleanz about too. Is before he started posting about it, he posted a photo with like a little bottle in the background of one of his photos, and I was just like, oh, zoom, what is this? And so I just like looked it up and chatted with Daniel, the CEO, and was just like, this is game changing. Like, I don't know what this is, but like I need to do this. And I also struggled with a binge eating as well. I was a pre-professional ballet dancer for 18 years, and the psychological stress was so much on me that I would like hide boxes of cookies and hide things in my bedroom. Like I would literally like uncover my bed, and there'd be like a pile of trash. And I'd eat so much that like I wouldn't be able to breathe, and then I wouldn't eat for like 3 days afterwards. So it's like they always classified it as like binge bulimic, but I never purged. It was just like a binge and then don't eat and then exercise excessively. Just unhealthy, super unhealthy. And I feel like Zen Cleanz has really helped me kind of understand that, because it's still a journey, it's still a process. I still find myself doing that, not nearly as bad as it once was, but like I'm at least a little bit more aware of when I can fall into those tendencies. And it at least just brings some awareness to it, because it's like once you do a cleanse, like it feels wrong to put so much stuff back into your body. It's like you're gonna listen to it. You have to listen to, like last night I ate a little bit too much and I'm feeling it today. I'm kind of like, ugh, like all right. And now it's like, now it's not like the massive amounts. It's like, oh, I ate a little bit too much, like, oh, I just don't feel as good. And then on days that I eat way too much, then I'm just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I can't believe I was functioning this way. And it's just kind of crazy how, as you were saying, it helps shift your consciousness, because it's like something that we've been holding on to, like plaque or gallstones. Once you release those things, you have that like empty void, this like Swiss cheese, like a hole that you have to sit with, you have to feel empty. And I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people who are just beginning their cleansing journey, because it can feel scary, because it can feel like, oh, I need to self-medicate with food. I need to self-medicate with something because of that like openness, that emptiness. And I think the most important part is to sit with it. So I always like to ask people, like, what inspired you the most during your cleanse, or even like when you first started seeing the mucoid plaque come out? What was the moment that you were like, oh wow, like this is something that I want to, one, share with people, and two, want to continue doing?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the results are everything. Like during the cleanse, when I actually felt that first like massive gurgle at one of my painful spots, can't talk here. And I felt it like vibrate and dislodge and slip down, ready for elimination. I was like, oh, like, oh my God, like it's been there for years. And it just, and then you go see it in the toilet, you see how it looks, the texture, the smell, it's ridiculously old. It's like, it's so putrid, like you want it like gone from you, like so badly. Yeah, I related also like doing, plant medicine or ayahuasca, the purging process. It's like the emotions come right out with it. And like once it's out, like I want it so far away and just gone into the void, you know what I mean? Like move on with life. So for me, like actually seeing the plaque come out and feeling it vibrate and dislodge off of certain parts of my organs and intestines, that's everything. Because it's like some people have tried to say, oh, you're just, pooping out the enzymes clumping together. It's like, no. When you feel it dislodge from a part of your intestinal tract, that's what's going on. So that was like, those are the pivotal moments for me, actually feeling it and seeing it.
Totally. I relate to that a lot. I'd seen mucoid plaque come up before I did the enzymes, but there was something about seeing a piece of plaque that was literally the size of my arm come out that I was just like, I don't know whether I should scream or laugh or cry or all of the above. So I did all of the above. And that was kind of my pivotal like aha moment. So it's like hearing people's aha moments are so wild. Some people have the aha moment during the cleanse when they're just like feeling stuffed, feeling like they're going to explode. Some people have that aha moment when they start releasing, and it's just wild to kind of experience that and to feel it within yourself, and kind of going forward and understanding cleansing differently. How would you say that the enzymes shifted your idea of cleansing and of like fasting? Because it's like so simplified and so much easier in a lot of ways. Like, I'm just curious, like, since you have done a longer fast, like how has it shifted your awareness of it?
It definitely shifted my awareness, because for years, and I'm still working on this, being stuck in the mindset that like the only way to heal is like you got to go the distance and fast for so long and do all these extreme things, and like it's pushed so much, especially in the scene, in the raw vegan scene, the fruitarian scene, the breatharian scene, you know, Instagram and all this. Everyone wants everyone to like go on these crazy long fasts and detoxes and, you know, juice for 150 days, or all these things that are like really crazy and really extreme the more you look at it unbiased. And after doing something that got me 10 times the results in one day than I did on a 21-day fast, it definitely has shifted that for me. And I tell people like, yo, like, yes, Zen Cleanz, it might look expensive, but how expensive is it to spend 30 days on produce and all your time and your money and the ups and the downs? There's so much that goes on with having to go through that process when you could just take a weekend, you know, spend the money, which realistically is the best investment you're going to make in your health to get this crap out of you. So I don't necessarily recommend like fasting much to people. I think periodic fasting is always going to be a good thing. Maybe like one day a week or a couple of days a month. But for me, I don't really have that desire to like, oh, I got to be like Jesus and go 40 days on spring water to get this stuff out. It's like Zen Cleanz is just more efficient. And I think as we evolve as humans and, you know, scientifically, technologically, nutritionally, there should be things that are providing instant healing. And Zen Cleanz, like this is like, we're going to get way, way, way more advanced than even Zen Cleanz as time goes on. We don't need these long periods of fasting, these crazy processes anymore. It's going to get more and more simplified, and the healing is going to be more efficient and quicker. So that's the path I recommend to people.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish I had started with enzymes, you know. A lot of people are so lucky now that they're starting their cleansing journey with enzymes. The way that some people start, like Josh, for example, the way he started cleansing was like horrible. It was intense. Like, probably put himself into oxidative stress so much. And he was like hunting parasites with turpentine and doing these Mucoid Plaque juices. Like, I've done that as well, but not nearly to the same degree that he has. And it's just appreciating where some people have come from, but then they found this. It's almost like, you know, pressure makes diamonds in a lot of ways. And I think one of his recent posts, he talks about this. He's like, pressure makes diamonds. And at the point where you feel like you're going to give up is the point where the diamond is created. And that's when like new things come through. And that was quite literally how I felt as well. I was I'd already done like some healing for about a year, but I wasn't really making progress. I was kind of like plateaued at that point. So that's when I was kind of like, oh, I still don't feel good. Like, what can I do? I'm at my limit. Like, I need to find something. And that's kind of when enzymes came in. And that's when I started talking to Daniel. And now I talk to Daniel almost every day because we just have such a good relationship of communication and learning. Like, I've learned so much from him. I would say most of my knowledge has come from working with him, which has been really quite beautiful.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy.
He's got so much knowledge. It's wild. And like how he shares about it, especially how he talks about the cleanse ego, which I think is something that's important for people who are newer or starting out, because I see it often. Like, people go through a cleanse and then they're like, oh, I got this, like, I'm gonna guide people through this. And I'm like, you've done one cleanse, like, tone it down. And the people that are able to like do those cleanses and notice that they have that and then tone it down are like the people that are really going to go further, because they're aware that it's a thing. And it's always interesting to witness and experience what people are seeing and doing kind of within their minds. What would you say like your feelings during your cleanse were? Like, did you have any like extreme bloating or like any sort of healing crises in a way?
So the first one, I definitely was like, I don't want to say like super toxic, but I definitely wasn't like clean at all at that point. So the first one, I felt like a balloon. Just like by the end of the day after that last shake, I was like plugged up, and it wasn't necessarily painful. Like, I've been through so much bloating, I'm just like, oh, whatever, I'm bloated again. It's fine, it'll pass. But yeah, I just felt like extremely, extremely full, and it's like everything was just sitting there. I'm like, okay, is it gonna do something? And but then once you start releasing, that goes away really quick, and it's just you release all of it, and then it's like, oh, you feel fine. The cleanses after that, like 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's gotten gentler and gentler. I always tell people that are interested, like it's a very gentle thing. The shakes feel very nurturing and very loving to me. They're not aggressive. This is not an aggressive cleanse. It's nutritive and cleansing. And I actually had someone ask me, oh, how do you rebalance the gut flora after this? I said, you don't need to. This is rebalancing the gut flora at the same time, which also sets it apart from everything else, I think. Yeah, for me, it's just they're very gentle, and the first couple might be intense. Like if you're really overweight and like really have a lot of stuff, I can see how it's a completely different experience for that person. I'm quite slender. I don't know, so my experience has been for the most part very mild physically.
Wow, that's awesome. Have you done one of the liver cleanses yet?
I did one of them. Yes, I did. I didn't prepare well enough. I still got some results. I got about 20 or 30 stones out, but I feel like I still have a lot more liver stagnation. So I'd like to maybe do one again in the future, but I still feel like the plaque is more important. So I think I still have some plaque to get out. And I'm sitting on 4 or 5 more intestinal one kits that I hopefully will do by the end of summer. And then maybe I'm on to more of the liver stuff.
Yeah, I always say working with the intestines and the liver kind of simultaneously yields a little bit better results, at least for me personally, and kind of how I've been coaching people through it. Because it's like you're opening these little tiny pathways with the intestinal cleanse, and the closer you can do them together, the liver and the intestines, honestly, the more balancing you get in the gut. Liver stagnation was where almost 100% of my congestion came from. I was on about 18 different drugs and was addicted to 3 of them, and just had this like just stew of grossness going on in my liver. And it took me 3 or 4 liver cleanses to even see stones come out. I was so blocked up that I didn't even see anything. I mean, I saw like teeny tiny little ones, but like nothing like I'd seen other people's, nothing like the post that he made about it, or some of my other friends who had done liver flushes. I was just like, where are they? I can feel them. And it wasn't until I reached the 5th liver cleanse that I started actually seeing like large gallstones start to come out. And now I think I've like broken the seal. I've done 11 liver flushes at this point, 11 of these in enzyme ones, and I've done 10 intestinal cleanses, and I still have more. But the biggest thing that's helped me is doing them close together, because it's like both of those things are kind of like working together, like simultaneously rebalancing. And now I've kind of broken the seal with the liver, and now I'm like getting these like massive gallstones out, and I'm like, no wonder my liver wasn't functioning. No wonder I like had classic liver failure, which is kind of that was never diagnosed. Of course it wouldn't be. So it's just wild to like hear other people's experience with it as well, because for me the liver cleanse was the hardest. The intestines I was able to kind of like sit with, but the liver was like I had so much stagnation that I had like so much mental resistance to it, which is kind of wild. Like drinking the drinks was hard for me. It's easier now, but like it was definitely quite the journey.
I feel that. I still feel like if I take and like rub in like right kind of below like the sternums above the belly button where like the gallbladder sits, it feels like there's this freaking golf ball size rock hard thing that's been there for like almost 5 years. And every time I eat a meal, it's like it gets to this point in my digestion where it's like, oh, it just hits this wall and it sits for like a half hour or an hour, and I'm like really pressurized and uncomfortable, and then it passes, and it's like, man, I don't know, obviously I could do more liver cleanses, but like it's been this pain. I really think it's just this huge gallstone I have sitting. So I think I do need, thanks for reminding me to focus more back on the liver again.
It's always interesting because Daniel explained this recently. He was saying that a lot of the pH in the gut is actually related to the liver, and that you can cleanse your intestines all you want, but if the pH isn't being balanced out by the bile, by the liver and the gallbladder, like the balancing of the intestines will never finish. Like you'll still be just going, which is what I've been doing. I was like focusing on the intestinal for a while. And then I was like, oh, wow, I need to actually start doing both, which is where it started changing. So I usually do like intestinal a day in between, and then liver, and then a day after. So it's like kind of a 4-day thing, and it's like packs so much more of a punch. And you make a ton of progress, which is kind of cool. And you get to feel the release of the liver. It's like talking to people who had massive releases out of their livers. It's just, we relate on this euphoria that comes out, because it's just like, wow, oh my gosh, I released this toxic load that I don't need to hold on to anymore, which is epic. I mean, any of these products, like even if you continue to just drink the enzymes after the cleanses, like it's still game changing. It still provides so many results. Do you drink enzymes at all?
No, I have a lot of papaya, and that's like try to get. I mean, I'm in Florida, so we get papayas, and there's some local ones, and I'll juice green papayas to get like maximum enzymes out of those, and I kind of do that. Yeah, I wish honestly, I wish I had like a 20-pound tub of just like the Zen Cleanz enzyme powder. I can just like have like I would ball out all day, every day having those. Trust me.
I would too. They're so good that I like offer them to people when people come over to my house, because it's just, I want everybody to experience this and just feeling this like level of clarity, and I always like to ask people, like, what inspired you most after the cleanse? Like, was it that your health improved enough, or was it that you just noticed the cleanse was so efficient and so effective that you wanted to continue your cleansing journey? Like, what would you say was the moment that really inspired you after you completed your cleanses?
I mean, it was definitely just like I said, seeing the plaque and like knowing 10,000% that this is one of the major issues that is plaguing humanity, and that this is a major issue why people's emotions are messed up, people's digestion is messed up, why all these, you see the classic, oh, the beer belly, these old dudes. I see dudes on the beach all the time. It's just their legs are skinny, arms are skinny, they got a huge balloon gut, and it's not beer. It's not what the doctors tell you it is. It's not fat. It's just untold pounds of all this old gunk. And it's not being talked about, and it's being like swept under the rug by like the mainstream. And like now that I've seen it, I have friends that have seen it, and we know what's going on. Like, this is the number one thing that I think people need to focus their efforts on. Not doing a 3-day juice fast. Do you know what mucoid plaque is? Most people don't. And they think it's like a joke or something, but I want to put people through this, because when you see it, when you feel it, you know. And when you know, you're inspired to go deeper and further and to spread the awareness to others. So that's my take on it.
Totally. And it's like the whole concept of you have to believe to see. It's not the other way around. You don't see and then believe. It's like you believe that it's going to work, and then you will see it happen. And I feel like that's kind of translates into a lot of areas in people's lives. And I've had so many like former, or not like potential clients that have been like, is mucoid plaque even real? Like, do you even see anything come out with these cleanses? And it's just the misinformation of like people questioning this, because it was such this, I don't even know if taboo is the right word for it, but just like mystical, oh, mucoid plaque. Like, people really didn't know what it was until they started doing these cleanses and actually saw